Hello students, welcome to this our wonderful video on SS2 biology. This is titled SS2 biology because we're going to be dealing with SS2 topics mainly. My name is Sachidi John. I am your biology teacher for all these topics. Welcome back to school. Let's get started. The first topic we're going to see is classification of plants. Now, generally, classification is the act of grouping or categorizing living organisms. So it is the act of categorizing plants. All right. Now, the objectives. At the end of this class, students should be able to classify plants based on botanical classification and give examples of each classified. Also give different classification. Now, students under botanical classification, we are going to see the following. Botanical classification is one way of classifying plants, and under botanical classification, we'll have the following. Number one, thallophytes. Now, what are thallophytes? Thallophytes are also called algae. All right, examples of algae, we'll have Spirogyra, we'll have kelp. But now, the various examples we have are Spirogyra. Now, for Spirogyra, they are not flower-bearing plants, as you can see. They are algae. Another example is kelp. Kelp is another example of an algae. All right, we have other examples of algae like blue-green algae, like red, brown, and green algae. The next class of plants we're going to see are called the spermatophytes. The word sperma means seed. So therefore, spermatophytes means seed-bearing plants, unlike thallophytes that does not bear seed. Spermatophytes are grouped into the angiosperm. The angiosperms are flowering seed plants that bear seed that are enclosed. Angiosperms are grouped into monocots. Monocots are the ones that have just one seed leaf. All right, and also grouped into dicots. The dicots, they have the taproot system, unlike the monocot that have fibrous root system. So let's look at just few difference between two of them. The monocot have one cotyledon, as you can see, while dicot have two cotyledons. The monocot have fibrous roots, while the dicot have taproots. There are other exciting differences between them, which we will see in class. All right, examples of monocotyledon will have the Z maize or corn, or we'll call it maize. The Z maize, which is the botanical name. Another wonderful example we'll have is the Ls guinensis, the oil palm. Ls guinensis, the oil palm. All these are examples of monocots. In the other hand, we are seeing other examples like Azonopus compressors, the carpet grass. Carpet grass is a monocot. And here are some examples of the dicotyledons, the dicots. Number one is hibiscus. As we can see clearly, hibiscus is a dicot. It has two seed leaves and also have a taproot. Another example of dicotyledonous plants is Ipomea batatas. Ipomea batatas, that's sweet potato. Ipomea batatas, that is sweet potato, as we can see there. Then another example we have is Viginia unguiculata, and that's common beans. Common beans plant is a dicot plant, so Viginia unguiculata is a dicot. All right. Another example we have is Dioscorea alata. Why we say Dioscorea sp is because we have Dioscorea species, because we have different species of yam, but yam is a dicot. Now, the second way of classifying plants we're going to look at is agricultural classification. Under agricultural classification, it is the act of classifying plants based on their uses, such as the cereals. Number one, the cereals are energy-giving food. The cereals are used in various ways to provide energy, carbohydrates for man and for animals. So examples of the cereals. Cereals will have rice, Rice is a cereal. Cereals are grass cultivated plants, as we can see. Most of them look alike, as we can see from here. Number two is wheat. Wheat is another example of cereal. Cereals are grass cultivated plants, as you can see from the pictures. They provide energy when eaten. Another one is barley. Now, barley is partially germinated where it is used in the manufacturing of beer, whiskey, wine, etc. So, barley is a cereal crop. Another example we have is oats. Most of you eat oats, right? As your breakfast. Oat is a cereal, is a source of carbohydrate for man, which gives energy after digestion. Now, look, another example we have here is rye. Rye is another example of cereal plants. All of them are grass cultivated plants. They mostly look alike, as we can see from the picture. Number two group of plants based on agricultural classification we're going to look at is the legumes. Now, the legumes, or we call them pods. The legumes are a rich source of proteins when eaten by man. Examples of legumes. We have the cowpea. The cowpea is a rich source of protein eaten by man and farm animals. This is a legume. Another good example we have is the groundnut. Groundnut is a rich source of protein. It's also a source of oil, so it is a leguminous plant. Good to hear, right? Another good example we have is the soya bean. Most of you take soya bean. Soya bean is a rich source of protein. It gives protein to man. Remember that the deficiency of protein gives kwashiorkor, so these plants are very, very important. Another example of legume is pigeon pea. Pigeon pea is another example of a leguminous plant. All legumes or pods gives protein. Number three group of plants we are going to classify according to agricultural classification is the root crops. Now, the root crops are crops that have storage organs. Their storage organs develop from the root. Examples of root crops, we have the carrot. Carrot is a root crop, as you can see. It develops from a root. Root crops are different from tuberous crops. Tuber crops are not root crops. Another example of root crop is cassava. Now, because the root crops develop from the root, their storage organ develop from the root. That's why we call them the root crops. Another example is sweet potato. Very, very, very important. Sweet potato is a root crop because develop from the roots. Now, number three classification we're going to see is the tuber crops. Based on agricultural classification, some crops are called tuber crops. Tuber crops are crops that have enlarged storage organ which develops from a large stem. So that's the difference. Examples of tuber crops is yam. Yam develops from a stem and not from the root. This is why we call it a tuber crop. That's why we say I want to buy a tuber of yam, right? Number five group of plants we want to see based on agricultural classification is the vegetable crops. What are the vegetable crops? Of course, have you not heard about people saying I'm a vegetarian? Meaning that they don't eat on carbohydrates, so they eat on vegetables. Examples of vegetable crops will have tomatoes. Remember that these ones provide some minerals, some vitamins, a lot of nutrients to man, and raw veggies. So tomato is a good example. Another example we have is spinach. Spinach is rich source of minerals and vitamin, very important for the heart function, etc. Cabbage is another vegetable crop. Cabbage is very, very useful. The juice is used in the cure of ulcer, etc. All right, we have a lot of them. Number six, we have, oh, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful. Have you eaten a fruit before? Yes, of course, you have eaten a fruit before. We have varieties of fruits of which you know all of them, a lot of them, like mango, Magnifera indica, that's mango, as you can see from here. We have a lot of fruits. This one, you can even provide examples on your own. Pineapple, etc. Pineapple, that's Ananas commosus. Ananas commosus pineapple is one of the most important fruits we have. It is very, very common. You see it every day. So these are fruits. Another example we have is pawpaw. Pawpaw, carica papaya. So as you can see from the diagram, pawpaw is a kind of fruit we do sing while we were in secondary school then. You can see this one is quite popular. Number 7 group of plants we're going to study based on agricultural classification are the spices. Now, the spices are a group of crops that are used as flavoring agents. They are used to add flavor to foods. Example is nutmeg, bay, thyme, rosemary, curry, etc. Number 8 group of plants we are to classify based on agricultural classification. We call them the beverages or drugs. Example is cocoa, coffee, cola, tea plantation. These ones are planted for their medicinal purpose. All right. Coffee is used for medicinal purposes. It is also used as tea. It is also used for breakfast. So this is how the seed looks like, and this is how the fruits looks like. Number 9, we'll have the fiber crops. Wow, these ones are the ones that, imagine the world without fabrics. Imagine the world without sweater. Imagine the world without wool, without cotton wool. So these fiber crops provide fiber for man. Examples of fiber plants will have number 1, the jute. The jute is used in the manufacturing of clothes, fabrics, etc. Another example we have is hemp. All of them are used for the same purposes. When you look at them, you discover that they have tender bodies, soft, fleshy. They are used in manufacturing of clothes like sweaters, etc. Wow, the most popular one is cotton. Cotton is a plant. All right. After germination and growth, it bursts open into something that looks like a cotton wool, which is used in manufacturing cotton wool in the hospital. All right. And on number 10, we're going to look at is latex plants. Latex plants are plants that provide latex. Latex is used in the manufacturing of different rubbers. So latex crops are very, very, very important. Example is rubber plant. Now, number 11 is the woody plants. The woody plants are the plants that provide wood for building and construction, for manufacturing of chairs, etc., for books. Examples of woody plants is iroko. Imagine the world without a tree. Are you sure we are going to survive? I'm not sure at all. So we have iroko, we have mahogany. These plants are a rich source of wood, which is used as firewood for building and construction, for construction of chairs, table, etc. So these are sources